Oh, hello everyone. We're live. Welcome to the SweNats 2023 prediction stream. Today, I'm joined once again by European Ambassador Mumin. How's it going, bro?
All good, all good.
Yeah, excited to chat some shit. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, mad smack talk coming everyone's way. Also joined again by David. How's it going, bro?
Hey, good morning.
Guten Morgen. And Hekki, welcome back. It's good to see all of your lovely faces once again. I mean, when did we? Because we had the exact same people last time, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It was the review, right?
Yeah, the review.
The review was the same people. Right. Well, the boys are back in town, and yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about laser tag. For those of you that have watched the prediction streams before, you probably know what's coming. But in case you don't, basically, we're just going to go through all of the teams. I've done a little Google Slides with the help of Mumin. So thank you for that. But we're just going to go through, starting with our 11th place predicted team. And these predictions were based on like a community votes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So predictions are based on what you guys, the community, put in. And we're going to go through them in that order. We'll talk about things we expect the teams to do well, things we maybe think they might struggle with, any standout players, and then anything else of note to add. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really got anything else to say. You guys ready to rumble, or have you got anything you want to say before we get into it?
I think we're sort of ready, aren't we? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about the tournament afterwards.
Yeah, I think we're all over it. Allow me to share my screen. Bear with me one moment. Tech whiz coming through. Boom. That should work. Lovely jubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. If anyone's in the chat, let us know if anyone is like louder, like significantly louder or quieter than everyone else, or if the music's too loud or quiet. Let me know in the chat, and I can fix that up right away. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So predicted in 11th place, we have Taggers. Mumin had them predicted in 10th. Hekki had them in 11th, and David had them in 11th. Who's gonna get us started talking about Taggers?
I'll go. It's our new players, so it's going to be hard for anyone else to go, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I predicted them in 10th because they're home players, and I think because we also have this youngster team from Finland coming in, so I think they might be able to snatch 10th place. But basically, they have the captain Skip. He used to be he's still a Fedek in that sense, but he left after the European Championships 2018 to do other sports, and sometimes he comes back, right? And this is one of those occasions. He has won Swedish nationals a few times. He's played Worlds, played the European Championship, so he knows. He's a really good player. And he's joined by 4 of our newer players. Mia Maria, it's supposed to be, I missed an A there. Eliter, that's her daughter. Glassman, he's also a young player. I think he's like 13, something like that. Theo and Malvin, who's not sure. He might be traded in for another player actually because he had some money issues. But he has played for like 3 months. So quite a new team, quite an interesting team. So it will come down to how good of a leader Skip is.
You said Skip like goes away to like do other sports. What are those other sports? Out of curiosity.
Floorball.
What'd you call it?
Floorball.
Floorball.
Probably not as big in.
I'm gonna guess it involves a ball on the floor.
Ball, yeah, and a stick.
Safe bet.
I'll have to look. I'm gonna look up floor. Is it like a big thing in Europe or like Sweden?
At least in Sweden, I'm not sure really. Is it big in Finland and Germany?
I think it's pretty big in Finland, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Scandinavian sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. There you go, folks. Floorball. I know what I'm gonna be. The rabbit hole I'm gonna go down on YouTube tonight. It's
There you go.
Floorball. Yeah. Cool. No, I think it's really cool anytime you see like a player that's super obviously you said like he's won like multiple different tournaments, like all over the place. I think it's really cool whenever you see one of those players take on the task of like bringing 4 players up. And yeah, like you said, it's like so often we've seen it happen at Zoltak quite a lot. And you know, depending on the leadership of the player, like that team can actually do, you know, they might struggle, like as you might like expect, just like given that it's a bunch of new players, but also like there can be some surprising times where like you're like, holy crap, like this team has taken some bloody scouts this tournament. So yeah, no, that's really cool. And it's cool it's cool. I think I have a lot of respect for any player that's like played at the highest highs that then like takes a step back and, you know, comes like and plays with you know, some of your newer players coming up, because that's like it's such a massive boost to their experience, right? Like if they do this same tournament without that experienced player, the player they'll be at the end of the tournament would be like completely different, right? So yeah, what do you know, given these are some new young guns, what kind of things do you expect them to do well?
Well, they know the arena. Mia, Maria, and Eliter, they are from Borås. Like Borås is like 1 hour drive outside of Gothenburg. Glassman has not played there hardly at all. Skip has played there multiple times, of course. But I think we'll see a lot like field pointing. They can sort of be okay. They know the spots. They know the spots we play. Yeah. But it's going to come down to cohesiveness. Like if they are going to play like more of a structured game, will they hold the base? Like will their defense work, or will they go like total surge, just go with 5 and just do early game dump? Like it's going to be hard. Like if Skip can get some structure to it, they can sort of. I think there will not be 11th, but if it's going to be like everyone doing their own thing, sometimes happen. They're going to be probably at 11th. Yeah. And I don't think any one of you played Skip at least, David. I think, but I think that's going to be
no. I also played with Maria in Armageddon, I think it was, because I had some sick players and she helped out our team, so I already know that she's quite disciplined.
She's German.
Yeah, she knows German. Yeah. So if Skip can actually manage to have the young guns under control a little bit, then I think they can be a dark horse and take some games from subjectively better teams, maybe. Because, like you mentioned, they know the maze, they know where you guys play, so that can be an upset potential. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, obviously we've talked about maybe some things that they could do well. What do you foresee being the things that this team will struggle with more than anything?
It's the cohesion bit, and it's also playing with, like, one thing is playing member nights. I mean, we use rules, but it's a whole different thing when you have like true refs inside. It's going to be like, and some with the discipline, like being where you're supposed to be when you are, and also players like, of course, if they play against maybe Hekki's team or David's team or my team, like we give them some slack, you know, but it's more fierce than they're used to.
Yeah.
That might be a challenge, especially for the younger players. It's hard to say really, because some of the Finnish young players, I mean, they're like Teflon, you know, they don't care. So I mean, we don't know how these players will react.
Is this a team that has been able to train very much in the lead up to this tournament, or are they kind of going into it pretty fresh?
Fresh.
Yeah, right. That's always interesting, huh? Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, you could talk about standout player. There's a very obvious one there in terms of who we expect to do well. But Mumin, have you got any picks on, like, you know, some of these young guns that are, you know, maybe gonna surprise some people? Or
I would say maybe Eliter, Elin. Yeah, she probably, like, she's one of those players. She started playing when she was like really young. It's like a family. It's Maria and her, and also her older brother is playing in another team. she might actually surprise some players because she's sort of fearless and knows like duels, and we do a lot of the base runs, like that's what we practice Swedish format. So around the base she's pretty strong, so she'll surprise a few players, I think.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, does anyone have anything else they would like to add about taggers before we move on?
Yeah, I think they're choosing a good approach with having a seasoned player and some newer players. And maybe that can also be a benefit to the mental, like you mentioned, Mumin, because with new players, you never know if they if they lose 4 or 5 games in a row, how they will cope with it. And if you have a seasoned player there, that can also help to calm them down and just focus on what they can do better instead of what they didn't do good, especially with new players.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a common thing you see in any like younger players, is like the ability to how well they lose, I guess. It's easy to win well and take that well, because obviously that feels very nice. But I think learning to lose well is really one of the most important things in, like, literally, I mean, anything in life, right? So I guess if any of those newer players are watching, my advice as the Mr. Laser Sports Academy man would be, there's a very common phrase, which is you win or you learn. And I think in principle, a lot of people understand that. But the hard bit is when those losses actually come, especially when, if you get absolutely destroyed by someone or by a team or something. The hard bit is actually like putting that into action. But it's honestly the single best thing you can do in anything in life if you actually want to get good and improve. So yeah, that's my little bit of sagely wisdom for the young guns. But yeah, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add?
I think we're good.
Yeah, cool. Well, best of luck to 11th place taggers. We'll move on to 10th place, and we have who wants to pronounce that for me?
Epäriä.
Thank you very much. I'm not gonna attempt it because I'm just gonna butcher it. But predicted in 10th. Mumin had them in 11th. Hekki and David both had them in 10th place. So we have Jesse, Franklin, Death, Kurtu, and oh my god, Minirin Sessa.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That was good?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Just say it 3 times fast. No. Who's talking about these fellas?
Yeah, I got him. So they're a youngster team from Finland, very northern Finland, aging between like 13 and 16. I think most of them, at least 3 or 4 of them are 13, and one of them is 16. So they are a very young team. Been playing for like 2 or 3 years now, actively together. So they have been gaining experience and getting better by each tournament. And they very much have like the willingness to improve, and they love the sport. So it's been cool to see them get better, and I'm very happy that they're coming to this tournament, their first international one. So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I think you can compete as much as you like at like local tournaments and stuff, or at your leagues or training or whatever. But I think that first tournament outside of like your comfort zone, I guess, is always it's a big step. But also, I think every single time you see like a massive evolution in players in their game, like before versus after their first like big tournament outside of like home. So that's super exciting. Like you said, they're like all 13, maybe in like 1 or 2 16-year-olds. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think one of them is 16 and the rest of them are 13. So they are super young.
That's wild. They also have the most gross logo ever, but I love it. That's so much better knowing that they're all just like a bunch of like kids.
Oh yeah.
That's really funny, actually. That's awesome. Well, yeah, Hekki. So, is this a group of players? Have they been able to train much in the lead up to this tournament as an actual team, or have they just kind of been playing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think they have been able to train, like they attend these like weekend events in Finland, all over Finland. For an example, Franklin was in Tampere a few weeks ago, which is like a 4-hour drive from where he lives or something. He attended this like solo event, not a competition, but like a real members night event, basically, just to gain experience and see how those games go. Like they are super active all over the place and attend everything they can, basically. And at home, I know they train quite a lot, very active like community there. So
yeah, awesome. I think that'll pay dividends for them going into this tournament. But so what do you expect these guys to do well?
So they are still pretty like new. They don't, like, to put it bluntly, they don't have much like back power per se, but like they have a good team spirit, and I think they work quite well as a team. They are like good friends outside the arena, so their communication is quite good for their experience, especially. So I think that's where they kind of do good. It's going to be interesting how they adapt to the Buros arena, because it's quite different from everything and anything they have played in Finland.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about you know, you can have a team of people, like, you know, maybe cherry pick the 5 best players you can think of.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could take a team of like maybe less powerful players. But if the super powerful team, if they just like don't really get along outside of the arena, and you have a team of people that maybe aren't as good, but they've got that super good team synergy and just vibe kind of going, I would almost back that slightly less powerful team to beat the strong team like every time, because when you have that nice little culture, I guess, within your own team, and you're all friends, that's what makes taking those really heavy losses well, right? If you got a bunch of people that, like, you know, they don't even have to hate each other, but they're just kind of, they don't get along as well. When you can really see things of like people like blowing up after games and getting really angry at each other and stuff. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Is there, so what would you expect them to maybe struggle with, it being their first international tournament?
So, like, me knowing the arena, I think they're gonna have some struggles with the arena, because it's so like pack on pack heavy, at least for my tastes, and that's kind of where they struggle. We still struggle when it comes to their gameplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to predict how they will do. Like when I predicted them at 10th, I was pretty like torn between picking them or Skip's team, because I think it's gonna be a flip of the coin, basically, on paper at least.
Yeah.
Because they're good and they're getting better, like this team.
Yeah.
Especially Franklin and Jesse and Mini Rinses, I would say, is quite a good trio right now.
Yeah, I definitely think player to player, this is a stronger team if you Skip from the equation. The thing is, like, I think they are used to the Finnish like really huge bases with like.
Oh, they very much are. Like at their home arena. I don't know if you have played there, but in Vuokatti, it's a 2-floor arena, so it's super different from Buros. yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be super hard for them at the beginning, at least, I think. But I think they might do well, and they might surprise some folks at least.
Yeah. Because I actually think, like, I'm not sure how the bases in Vuokatti looks, but our bases are like smaller than one of the ramps leading up to the base in last Finnish Nationals. So.
Yeah.
so yeah. But I think like there are a few things. Like, have they played our settings, the timing? Like, they don't have Windows, right? They are using the Linux Ozone, right?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not. I really don't know. What are they doing in Vuokatti?
Because if you're used to the sort of like Helios 2 H Pro Ozone timing, then the next style timing can be quite rough to learn.
It can be at the beginning, at least. I think they will get used to it as they're young and very like keen on improving their gameplay. So I think they'll get a hang of it when the tournament progresses.
Yeah, probably. And also we have low walls, and that usually helps like the younger teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think sorry.
No, you go, bro.
Yeah, especially as they're younger players, but also have some, if I got it right, some tournament experience in Finland already. I think they will adapt pretty soon to the maze. Of course, I don't know the players themselves because I haven't played with them. I knew some of the players from taggers, but I still gave Aperia the benefit of the doubt because you have like these teenage competitions or younger people competitions in Finland, and I saw that so at least some of their players played her already, and like having competition is, like you mentioned, the way to grow really fast. And taggers, they didn't play in a competition as their team, so they still only know the training mode, I would say. And I'm pretty sure also like the Federkin players, they will not go 100% in training or 200% in training like they might go in the tournament. So you can learn a lot faster if you actually compete with a team than if you only do the training. So that's why I put them 10th. Also, like you also mentioned, it's pretty close probably.
Yeah.
You were saying that is the SweNats going to be on Helios Pro equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys play on a different timing. Did you say Nexus timing?
Yeah.
That's cool. And you play with trigger lockout as well, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually I remember when my own site in Adelaide, when we had Helios Pro, towards the end of it, just for a bit of fun to spice things up, we changed to that Nexus timing as well, and I actually really liked it. I thought it felt really really nice on H Pro. Obviously, we didn't play with trigger lockout, which was it meant the jewels were a bit cursed. Because you could just like be a deactivated player and just like spam your trigger or whatever. But yeah, I thought it felt really nice. So that's cool that that you guys actually run it at your at SweNats. Yeah, is that at every like European tournament? Is it on that Nexus mod timing, even if it's on a Helios equipment, or is it different?
No, with the release of Ozone, it's not possible anymore. Otherwise, yes.
Okay. Right. Yeah. That puts a spanner in the works. Cool. Anyway, a bit of a tangent there, but Hekki, do you have a pick for just a standout player that you think is gonna really surprise everyone at this tournament?
Oh yeah, it's Franklin. I think if he keeps it up, he's gonna be a really good player in a few years.
Yeah, cool. Is he the 16-year-old or is he one of the young ones?
I think he's one of the young ones. I think Kerttu is the oldest one. She's the one who's 16.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. That's very exciting. My dog is crying. What are you crying about, mate? What's up? He's been home alone all day. He wants attention. You'll be right, mate.
But
All right.
hey,
Yeah,
Aperia, it doesn't mean Rat Express, right?
it does not.
So why is the Rat Express in the logo? I don't know.
I don't know either, to be honest. It's a fun logo, though.
You don't know what these young whippersnappers are up to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to keep up with those guys. Despite that, yeah, still, it's like a gross logo, but I love it. But anything else we would like to say about Eparia? Is that how you say it?
Nice. Beautiful.
It was good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Let's go. Yeah, anything else we want to say about this team?
I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I remember we did some commentary, you and me, Hekki, when they played, and like I don't know, Minirin says she got like 13, 14K.
Yeah, she's actually a super solid back player. Like I would say she might be the surprising player in a way. Like if I think Franklin is kind of the star of the team, but Minirin can surprise a lot of people with her like tag ratios and back scores and such things.
Yeah, cool. Well, best of luck to the young guns. Go take some scalps and have a good time at your first international tournament. Moving on to the ninth place team, we have 6 Cents Randomized. I realize that looks really cursed the way it's like written out, because just like how their team name is.
9-6
Randomized. Awesome. So Mumin had them placed in 9th, Hekki had them in 9th, and David had them in 8th. Who's talking about 6 Cents Randomized?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the lead here. So Sixth Sense randomized, it's basically the Sixth Sense team with Jonas from Randoms, and they already have some experience in this in the same roster. They played SweNats last year with it, and I think 2 years ago also Jonas joined the team. So they have experience playing together. I think still the coordination could be a little bit better. There's sometimes a little bit lost in the maze, but that's also because the shot caller, I would say, from Sixth Sense, he's not with them again. I think they are really strong players when it comes to base defense and base attack because they train pretty strictly. They train every week and they play base run every week. So that's where they can really show up. I'm not sure how good they will again handle the zone play that you have in Boros, especially like in the green base room. You know, there's always a lot of trouble, and I'm not sure they're used to that much. In general, you can say they improved quite a lot, like skiller play wise. I think they got a lot better during the last years, especially because they train so often. But so far they couldn't really put it into the competitions. But let's see, maybe this year.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So what would you expect this team to do well? What do you think their strengths will be?
I think they have really good pack score players. For example, Trefnix, he's like really good in 1v1 situations and pack point scores. He will always have a lot of pack points. Then the rest of them are really strong in base defense and base attack, like I mentioned. Like Chrisley, also he played with Watch Dogs before with me. He's also a really strong player. And Jonas, he grew a lot. Like last year, I think for him it's the biggest improvement for last year. And he also has like a good understanding of what's happening in the maze, but it's kind of hard to communicate it for them to get all on the same page. Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, my
Yeah.
dog was just barking like crazy, so I muted my mic for a sec. Yeah, has any of you gents, because we've seen these players at tournaments before, have either of you gents got things you want to add in terms of things you would expect them to do well?
Yeah, their cohesion is really good. Like last year and the year before that. The year before that, they were sort of, they felt sort of new. But this year, the year before this, like 2022, they looked pretty, like they have such a good structure. And when you're inside reffing or playing against them, you think they got more score than they actually do. I'm not sure why they're not getting the score they should have, but they're not really. So if they can just fix that and be more efficient in their positions, like getting the score they need, I think they could actually be much higher than 9. Um, so yeah, I think the inefficiency in pack score, in the cohesion and positions they play has been the problem.
Oh, bloody hell, I muted
Good timing. Yeah, but that's
all right.
also what.
Mum came home. That's why he was getting so excited. All right, that's all right. Sorry, I'm thrown off. Someone go.
Yeah, I would also, like Mumin said, I think that's their biggest weakness. It's like the coordination on where to be when, because like you say, they don't have the packs, but it's not like they are bad pack players. They're not that good like in a scramble where there are a lot of players, but usually they're good pack players. They are just not there where they need to be to get the packs. So they will defend with 3 people against 1 attacker for 5 minutes and not know when to make the switch. And that's, I think, something they are still missing. Maybe they can be a little bit more decisive, I think, this tournament. At least I hope so. Because I know the players are really strong, because I play with them in Germany often and train with them sometimes. They are really good players. They still like miss this decisiveness to switch tactics and not have their, okay, we will start this way, and then after 10 minutes they come out of the maze and they play the same way as they started, and that's not how it works often.
Yeah, and would you put that onus on the shot caller or the in-game leader or the captain, whatever you want to call them, or do you think it's like a team-wide problem or something that needs a team-wide solution?
I think they need a team-wide solution because having only one guy to have the overview and to coordinate everything it's hard. You have to have this like instinct. But when they tried to do that, then they were all over the place. So they need to find that sweet middle ground where you can make decisions yourself, but not throw the whole tactic or the whole game into chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's at Zeltec, at least, that's one of the big things that really separates the top from everyone else is like you said, like a bunch of these players on these teams are super strong, like pack on pack. But the thing they're missing is just the bits in between, the decision making, the being at the right place at the right time, the things like you said, like not committing 3 players to like one attacker at your base. And yeah, I think I would agree in that. That's something that my own team, leading up to the Hobart Nationals that just went, a big focus for us was taking some of that stress away from our captain, because we were a team that was very much like the captain made like pretty much all of the calls, which was good in that, you know, obviously they're running around, they've got the most intel, like they know what's happening in the game, but it just means it is a lot of pressure on that one player, and it also kind of means like that one player is going to make or break that game as well, right? Whereas when you start to share that responsibility, obviously not too much, where like you were saying, like if you share it too much, you just have 5 captains in the arena and they're all got like a different idea of how the game's supposed to go. I think you still have your main shot caller, but I think every individual having the ability to make their own little decisions in their area of the arena is massive in like maximizing like the impact that you as a player can have on the game. So yeah, no, that it just kind of mirrors like what I see all the time in teams that are like almost getting to that top tier at Zoltak, but that's always the bit that they're missing. Yeah. So we talked about strengths. We talked a little bit about some weaknesses. David, do you have a pick for a standout player, someone that you think's gonna, you know, someone that's been putting a lot of work in?
Yeah. So I think, like I mentioned, like Trefnix and Chrisley are probably their skill-wise best players. But actually, as a standout player, I would use for this tournament X-Force, because he has a really unique playing style. And yeah, Mumin's already laughing. But the thing is, this playing style, it looks funny, and for the past years, it didn't work that good. But like right now, he managed to get a spot with his unique playing style, where it's actually working pretty hard, pretty good, because you're not used to play against a player standing like that or moving like that. And I think for us, we train with him, so it's a little bit easier. But it will be hard for international players who haven't played against him, especially the newer guys that we place 10th and 11th, to cope with that movement that he has. And I think that can actually be quite a strength for them. And I think also he improved a lot to get his style playing. Like most German players, I think they copied our style that we copied from like the strong Finnish and Swedish teams. So it's always cool to see someone like stick to what they used to play like in our old system and translate it to the new system, and now being at a point where it actually works really good. So that would be my watch out or standout player for the tournament.
Yeah, awesome. Does anyone else, Mumin or Hekki, do you have a standout player that you're keen to see?
I've always been impressed by Trefnix. He's the player in this team that really he feels really competitive inside the arena, while the other 4 are quite, you know, nice guys outside the arena and inside the arena. You know, is more ferocious in the arena.
I think you definitely, if you're wanting to get to that like top tier high level, I think you kind of need a little bit of that mongrel, you know, that little bit of that, you know, bare your teeth and You know, really like, because I mean that's what at the end of the day, at the highest level, everyone's really good, and it's about who's going to impose their game, like impose their will on the game, I guess. And you know, sometimes it's the guy that's got grit in their teeth a little bit harder than you is gonna be able to do that, right? So, but I mean it's also, you know, there's still, not that you can't be at the highest levels being like a super nice player. There's definitely plenty of those, like Husky at nationals, like in Australia, for instance, is like one of the nice. You'll shoot him out in like a bloody super tense game, and you'll be like, "Oh, nice shot," you know. He's a good guy. Hekki, do you have a pick for a standout player?
So I would agree with Mumin as well. I've been a pretty like big supporter of Treknings over the years. I think he could easily play in the top German teams, like for example Team Destroyer, if I had to name. He's very gifted and works hard.
Yeah, awesome. Well, David or any of the other guys, you got anything you'd like to say about 9th, 6th Sense randomized?
Yeah, I hope they finally show what they can do, because I think that was their biggest struggle, and also why you guys placed them at 9th. Because I think, of course, the teams we will see now, they have really good players, but I think they have the potential to be better, like 8th, maybe 7th or 6th if they're lucky, or if the games go good, if they find like something working for them. It's always a little bit depressing to see they not reach their potential that they have as players.
Yeah, that's sort of the feel you get, because you can tell when you look at them they know how to play. So
Yeah.
Yeah, happy days. Well, if we haven't got anything else to say, we'll move on to our 8th place team. Best of luck to 6th Sense randomized, and yeah, I don't know, go get them, Tigers. In 8th place we have, is that Mapaches? Mapaches? Yeah, I got it. Awesome. So Mumin, you had them in 8th, Hekki had them in 7th, and David had them in 9th. This is the first team that no one agreed on out of you lot. Who's talking about these fellas?
I got it. So we have 3 players from Stockholm, 3 players from America, and they are from the team that won. Hold on, there hasn't. No, they are the reigning champions. Half of the reigning champions in the US. They are missing Skywalker and Berserk, which are the star players of that team, but they're still. I mean, they're good players. And then we got Big Boss, who used to play with Hekki, who joins Skitchy and Avo, that are they're from Stockholm. Okay players. Skitchy is one of those multi-system players, plays Armageddon, and Avo is Noob's dad.
That's cool.
Yeah. Noob is not playing this tournament. And really hard to say. Like America came here last year and they got squashed, right? And I was there, played their nationals, and they have picked up like a lot of stuff. It might be like they already knew things and couldn't get their stuff together, or what, I don't know. Let's not get into that. But what I saw in the SweNats, it looked pretty good, pretty solid play. And Big Boss, I mean, he's the star of that team. So they have an interesting 4, and then it comes down to Skitchy and Avo. And Avo, he's in his late 50s, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so it will come down to how well Avo and Skitchy fits into that. Like they can both play a last line or something. So if they get that working, this team might actually be a really good team. Might end up higher than 8. Or it goes the other way, because it's 2 different, they all know English, of course, but native tongue difference, that's always hard, I think. And 2 like different game philosophies meeting and all that. So it will be a really interesting team to follow, see how it goes.
So Big Boss is from Finland, is that correct?
Stockholm.
I'm from Stockholm. Oh, so all 3 of the top ones are from Stockholm. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I guess it's hard to say, given that half of them are from another country. But what would you expect this team's strengths to be?
Pack skill. Americans are like always good on the pack to pack. And Odin, when he was here last time around, he had never played with the Nexus timing. He's an H2 player. Gimpy and Renegade are more old school. They've played like multiple systems, multiple like versions of Zone. So I think the pack skills will be something like they know that they're good at, but also European pack skills is not the same as American pack skills. They found that out last time. It's not like people will sort of let you do the one-on-ones. Like you will have duels that will be supported by a third player or something like that, and they need to learn that better and not go on these useless duels where even if you win, you die. That sort of duel. But if they can get that together, I think this team can do some upsets. Actually. Yeah, it will be interesting. Like they could be lower than 8 or higher than 8. Like neither would surprise me actually.
David or Hekki, have you guys got any thoughts on what this team will do well? What their strengths will be?
So I think they will have a pretty good defense all around, because that's what Big Boss's team last year surprised me with, that he was playing with Avo and some more like elderly players from Stockholm, and they are like pretty disciplined and like got good back skills, all of them, especially Big Boss, as Mumin said. He's one of the best players in Sweden, absolutely, and monster in that arena in particular, I think. So I think their defense is going to be pretty tight, and I would expect them to play defense heavy game anyways. So it's going to be hard to crack those bases.
Yeah, I think for me they like a really wild card, and it also reflects in our voting, because they could go anywhere. Like you mentioned, Big Boss is like really skilled player.
Oh yeah.
And in defense, a combination with Avo, and we already saw it working. But now for me the question is, will the American players be able to have the quickness in the game? Because I think that's something that Big Boss and Avo are missing, like being fast and decisive and attacking really fast. So maybe we have a mix where it works perfectly. You have really strong defense players and really fast offense players. But that's like really hard to see what will happen. And like you mentioned, the pack skill that the US players use is really focused on 1v1. And I think actually for especially Boros, that's really hard to do there. I think there are mazes where it works better, but in Boros you always have like zone play, like a lot of players on a tight room. And I'm really curious or hopeful to see them grow like from last year and be a lot better in that things, because you know, if you always train with yourself only, they will develop some metas, like placements where you go and so on. And then you come somewhere and you suddenly realize, oh, that's not how it works. But then you have to make the next step and actually improve on that. So if they did that, then I think they can do some damage in the tournament.
Yeah, awesome. And what do we foresee to be like the potential downfall of this team, Mumin?
I think they will they have like Renegade, Skitchy, Avo, very typical last liners, all three of them. Yes, Big Boss and Gimpy, Odin, more attack players. I would say, like I've seen them all defend as well, but I would say the natural thing is to attack. So I'm thinking if they are forced to do like a 5-man play, like a dump or something, it could be rough without those mid players. I suppose Gimpy could actually do that, but they have a very, very obvious defense-sided players, 3 of them, and very like offense-sided players, 3 of them, like playing close to the baseline. They don't really have these support attackers or support defenders that could defenders that can push up, or attackers that can fall back and enable the other players. Like a midfielder or something like that. They're sort of missing someone who does that naturally, I think.
Well, yeah, I guess that's up to them to see if they can find someone to fill that position. Because I think, yeah, having someone in that midfield is really useful to turn your just an extra person rocking up in either situation, which your defense or your attack can like net in a denial at home or getting a base or preventing a teammate from getting denied. So yeah, just quickly though, someone in the chat said where can they find the overview of the prediction? Was that just posted to the there's like a SweNats Facebook event or something? Is that where it was posted?
No, I posted the actual Google form and American and European group, and then I just sent the result to you. So
Right. So this is the first people have seen of it. Maybe we can release like a little overview or something afterwards, or just like the results of the Google form or something. But just answer that person's question. Cool. Well, I'll get all of you to pick a standout player, and then we'll move on.
Who? I would say, while Big Boss is supposed to be the star of the team, I would say Odin, because he's one of those. America has a lot of these older players that are sort of set in their ways, but he's a young player who wants to develop his skills and really tries to learn. And he is, at the moment, he is like a Skywalker, a mini Skywalker. He hasn't really found his own style yet, but he feels like he's about to. At the start, you sort of copy a lot of things you see, and he's like right now at a place where I think he will find more of his own style, and it will be interesting to follow him throughout the tournament. I think he can surprise a lot of players considering how they were struggling last year. I think so. I would say Odin. Yeah.
Yep, David and Hekki.
I'll have to go with the obvious pick, my boy Big Boss. Like I said, he's a monster in that arena and monster in general. We saw it last year when he was playing in a team where there was like 4 clearly weaker players than him, and he like killed it. I expect the same thing this year.
Yeah, I think also like standout, it will be Big Boss, but you already expect him to really be that strong. So I hope that someone from the US team can be the standout in like seeing the improvement from last year.
Yeah. Cool. Big Boss is a big boss in this arena. Crazy. Who'd have thought? Do we have anything else we'd like to say about Mapaches before we move on?
No, I think we have sort of.
Yeah. Cool beans. Well, best of luck to the Swedish-US mixed team. I think mixed teams are always like really fun because it's just that ultimate X factor of like whether they're going to be able to get that cohesion together or not, right? Best of luck and go crush it. In 7th place we have Pariah. Is that Pariah or Pariah?
Pariah.
Pariah.
It's a piranha, so it has the same.
Right. That checks out. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hence the logo.
There you go.
Mumin, you had them in 6th. Hekki had them in 8th, and David also had them in 6th. That's also a really cool logo, actually. That's awesome. Who's talking about Pariah?
That's me. This is the Gothenburg second team, and they have tried more or less this lineup before. Jae Hong used to be in this team, then we picked him up, so he's no longer in that team. But and then we have Bouncer coming in as the 6th, and Lucifer as well. They usually are 5, I think. So Bouncer would be Maria, who was in Tigers. That's her son. And Lucifer is sort of a new player. He actually played in the German Nats. That was his first Nats. Yeah. Paulina Patalau was the captain. She has played like a lot of tournaments by now, and she's getting like really good. Revi, she played in with Fedakin last year when I played with another team. And I mean, she has a second in Sweden and it's third in Germany. So they are sort of the thing. The reason why I say all this is because they have played. This would be like the third tournament. So they have been a sort of like a hiatus or something like that. And last time they played, they struggled a lot. They were like second to last or something like that.
They were like dead last actually.
They were.
2021. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They struggled a
Yeah.
lot. The
Yeah.
quickness and how to play and the pack score and the movement and a lot.
Yeah.
But this time, it's gonna be so different. We got Buckshot. I mean, he has played in the SweNats. He joined me there, and he joined us in Australia, where he played the last line for the first time ever, and he did it like really well. And they have picked up like bits and pieces everywhere, and they should be more ready to rise to the occasion. I think they will like 6 should not be impossible for them. Yeah.
What do you
I hope.
What do you expect their strengths to be?
Well, the knowledge of the arena will help them a lot. And Mabry plays there like every week, and Bouncer works at that site, so that will help them a lot. And the fact that they know each other. I mean, Patalau and Revi, they're sisters, and like they get along. All of them get along pretty good outside the arena. Maybe Lucifer being a little bit of an outsider, but he has played with us for so long. These guys play every week, twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. So
They put in the hours in.
Yeah, so that they in that sense they have everything they need to succeed.
Little spoiler.
I don't even know why I scrolled. I just like it for no reason. Anyway. Okay. And David and Hekki, have you got anything to add in terms of what you think that this team's strengths will be?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned last time, they struggled a lot, and I think that was mainly because they didn't have the experience yet, like the competitive experience. Now they have it. Like they played in Germany, they played in Sweden. Buckshot went to Australia and to US. So I placed them 6 because they know the maze and they are all really good players. They also have a good mixture in their team, I think, of fast players, more defense players, and so on. They have good zone control, so I think the arena also suits them. And I hope that they can translate it this time, like into the game, and not only the player skills, but also the coordination and playing as a team. Yeah.
Hekki, have you got anything to add as well?
Yeah, just like David said, I'm really hoping that they are better this time than last time they played together, because as we've talked, they have put the hours in, have gained the experience, and they are all like pretty talented like individual players. I hope it shows in their like team play this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. The weakness is the tactics.
Yeah. Reading the game and whatnot, stuff like that was their weaknesses last time I played against them.
Yeah,
but that's something you have to gain experience to get better at. So, and now they've got some more experience. So, we'll see.
So so to segue into the weaknesses, so it was just like their ability to read the game and make those big like team-wide decisions.
Yeah, I think so. At least that's what it felt like to me. They like panicked pretty easily and made decisions, but not at the right time and not the right cause, and stuff like that. It's hard, as we all know, especially when you are starting to play more competitively. But like, I think Revi, for an example, I think all of us would agree that she had kind of a breakthrough tournament last year in Sweden, right? Like she's really good, and Patalau has been getting better every tournament. Maverick is a really good sniper in that arena, kind of like a mini Smiley in a way. Like it shows that they play together a lot. And as you said, Buckshot is a really like disciplined last line nowadays. So they got a pretty good dynamics going for all of them, I think.
Yeah, they have everything they need to succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
Use every tool. Yeah, totally agree. We'll see. I know Paulina has gone and played with a lot of like different teams now to sort of learn. Like she went to Finland on her own and played with like Piach and those guys.
Tampere,
yeah. So she should be able to read like the easy reads.
Yeah.
And that should put them at 7th, I think, by default. They are for you, Ryan. This is like I would compare these guys with maybe like Adrenaline or something like that.
Okay.
Feels pretty similar to when you play these guys and when you play like Adrenaline or a team like that.
That definitely helps like lens it for any of our Australian viewers. Cool. And who are our picks for standout players, everyone?
Who wants to start?
Yeah, it's really hard actually. They work so hard, all of them, and I would say one of the sisters probably. I would say, I would actually say Patalau because I mean her sister is like really fast, really like getting a lot of pack score, running across the arena, cracking bases and everything. But Patalau is the one that's supposed to hold everything together. So I think if she shines and has a good like self-confidence, that would be the make it or break it for the team, I think.
Yeah, I have the exactly the same opinion as Mumin. I was about to say all the same things basically.
Great minds.
Yeah.
Words right out your mouth. David, you got something else to say?
Yeah, like you both had some struggles to find like the standout player because I think they all put in the effort and they're all good players. I would pick Revi, but also like Patalos also really improved like the last tournaments, and Revi mainly because when I played against her in the Armageddon tournament in Gothenburg, like she really stood out, like doing a lot of pack points and being really fast and attacking. So I really was surprised how good she is actually. So
yeah, cool. Well, is there anything else we'd like to say about Pariah before we move on?
I hope they don't get too many warnings because they tend to.
What do they get warnings for?
Like a lot of like evacs. We will introduce. I'll get to that the area outside, so you can't like linger by the baseline anymore. We'll change that. We'll add another zone, but they get a lot of like weird warnings because they get overzealous. And they sometimes they handle it really good, sometimes not. But,
sounds like Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, best of luck to Pariah. Hope you guys are able to really pull it together this tournament and show what everyone, all the boys clearly think you're capable of. So best of luck. We'll move on to our 6th place team. We have Salad Mix. For those that were paying attention, you already know because I decided to scroll to them. But Mumin, you had them in 7th. Hekki had them in 6th, and David also had them in 7th. Who's talking about Salad Mix?
So that will be me. So Salad Mix is 4 players from Helsinki. So that's all my like good friends from my home side, and then 1 player from Seinäjoki, a town more in north. And they played with 4 of the same people at Finlands a month or 2 ago, with Pinse being replaced by Mina, which is actually quite the upgrade in all the ways because she's a very experienced player, as you can see from the podium spots right there. She's been playing forever and she's a really good, disciplined like player, and I think she will bring a lot of like brain into the team. And they surprised us personally, my team at Finlands. Like we thought, or I thought as the in-game leader, that we can just walk over them basically, and they actually made us play a lot. Like they actually put us in real trouble, and I was so proud because Alary is, he's like 16 years old, I think, and I have kind of like took him under my wing a little bit in the last like year and a half, and I'm like so proud to see him succeed in the ways he has, and I'm so happy that he's coming to this tournament with the same lineup almost with Mina now. So it's going to be interesting.
Alary the in-game leader or the captain?
No, he's not. I think they don't have an in-game leader per se, but I think most of the calls will be made by Piaj and Mina. Or probably by Piaj. He was the guy who was doing the thing in Finland at least. But he wasn't like doing that. He wasn't fully committed to it, I would say. it was a free flowing game in a way. But he made the calls when they had to make the calls.
Yeah. Cool. Well, what do you expect this team's strengths to be? Like, what about this team and these players gave you such a hard time?
So they're like pretty talented when it comes to back skills, and like they're very good at like taking advantage of, let's say, my team is playing against Fedakin, for an example. We are trying to play each other out. They realize that, and they can easily sneak the first place at that point. And that's kind of what they did to us all tournament long before the final day at SweNats. Like we were playing against GP and top teams like that, and then we noticed that these guys are kicking our ass, like beating us like by like 8K on pack and stuff like that. And it was a like real like surprise to us, and I think they can surprise a lot of people. Like I'm surprised that Mumin and David put them at 7th, because I know Mumin at least knows how talented most of them are when it comes to back skills. I think Piaj has been having quite a crazy year, kind of like a redemption run, because he's been playing for a long time now. But this year it finally feels like he has been pulling the pieces finally together and like pulling through, and he really wants to get to the top basically. Like he's not there yet, but he can easily make it there if he keeps it up.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
But I would say this is like the Helsinki Piraya.
Kind of, yeah. I see the similarities, but I would say like as a man from Helsinki, I guess so much stronger than Piraya though. Like I will pick them in any arena and any situation over them.
Yeah, especially with Mina in the team.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're gonna surprise a lot of people who are not expecting great things from them or may not know the players.
Yeah, we'll see. This I wouldn't be surprised if they place higher than Piraya, but but you know, Piraya, that's my team. Right? That's my team.
I know. At least it's my team.
and as the middle ground for me, it also was a flip. Like, who did I put 6th and who did I put 7th? And basically, it came down to the home advantage, I would say, for me. Like, why I put Piraya higher. Like those guys, they are really skilled. I played against most of them in different tournaments, in different team setups, but like the player skill is there, and also, like you said, they can read the game, and that's like the most important thing when you want to add on that pure skill level, that you need to be able to maybe be better than 6th and go 5th, or maybe even break into the final.
Yeah. But this team has not played a lot in Sweden. Mina has. But
I think Deva and Piaj have been there like once or twice. Mina also like once, but that was like 5 years ago, so not much.
No.
But they know how to adapt. I think they're all
But this team is much stronger on a Finnish arena.
Of course. Especially in like these Finnish, basically like Helsinki type bases, you know, like in Jyväskylä, for an example.
So Deva is really good. Because of its size,
I think we've actually got a few Australian people in the chat. So if you can, Mumin, I think they would appreciate it, and I would appreciate it. If we should have done it already, but from now on, if you can compare like one of these teams to like a Zoltan team, Quantum,
something like that,
yeah.
Okay.
That just helps like lens it for our Australian viewers.
I love that idea.
Because Helsinki is the Queen's land of Europe, so this would be Quantum.
Okay, cool.
And a Peria would be like Void, something like that. Void, but just young players.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that checks out. What do we foresee this team's downfall or potential weaknesses to be?
So I think their weakness, the most obvious weakness, will be like if their initial game plan doesn't go according to plan, their reaction to that, like how they react to that, and how like the team stays together at that point of the game, that's gonna be their downfall, because the communication isn't as tight as it should be, even though like 3 of them have been playing together for years on end right now, but it still isn't there for whatever reason. I think that's their biggest downfall.
Yep, Mumin, David, we got anything to add?
No, if they play as good as they do in Finland, in Sweden, then they will rank higher than 6th. if they struggle with how to play in Swedish arena, then sixth I think is where they end up.
Yeah.
But they are smart players, so yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll make our picks for standout players, and then we'll move on. So who have we got?
So I'm between three, but I'm gonna pick Piach because he's been having such a crazy year lately, especially at Finland, the most recent tournament. He was killing it all tournament long. I remember Mumin was telling me like he should be playing with us the next tournament and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, he's almost there.
Yeah, I mean Piach is an amazing player. He has always been really good.
Oh yeah, but now he's hitting like the second gear. Like I think now he really wants to push for the top. Like he has started to get the competitive spirit into the game more so than in the past.
Yes, he was not very competitive before.
Yeah. But I also want to give a shout out to Alary, as I was telling you guys about. Like he's getting better by each tournament. Super talented, super disciplined, and wants to get better. Wants to be on the top, and I think in a few years he should be.
Yeah, I love this new Finnish wave you got coming in here with.
Yeah, I love it as well.
Teenagers that are just like really good.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of scary also. Like every tournament you go, there's like Finnish players you've never seen or never heard, and you go into the maze and they're like so skilled, and then you see they have like the youth tournaments and so on, and then also what really surprised me, like doing people from the youth actually doing good in like the main stage events, like in solos. I think there was someone who's 6th place, like really young player. And yeah, that's really cool to see.
You really need to meet Joni Rex, my friend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a really good player. Yeah. We'll see.
Cool. Did everyone pick a standout player? Or am I crazy? I think I'm crazy.
No, it was just me.
I don't think. Piach any day of the week. Like I think he has always been really underrated because when I play last line and I get attacked by Piach and Deva, I hate it. I hate playing it. They are the worst. Like I would say Jor and Milky and Deva and Piach are my ones
damn.
I hate most in Finland to play against. And it's quite
that's huge praise. I like it.
Yeah, that's
I like
actually quite a compliment.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, but I would agree.
Yeah. Well, cool. Best of luck to Solid Mix. If they can pull things together, maybe jump up a spot or two or more. But that's up to you guys. We'll move on to our 5th place team. We're cracking into the top 5 now. We have Connection Lost. Mumin and David had them in 5th. Hekki, you had them in 4th. Who's talking about Connection Lost?
So that would be me. And I put them in 4th because they really got to that next level they have been trying to get at Finland. They got into the finals there. And it's kind of a new team consisting of like 2 squads. Like Ditum, December, and Destro have been playing together for like a lot of years, like 8 years or something. And then you got the trio of Tino, Valojägeri, Jossu. They have been playing a few years together, and they have in the last 2 years they have been racking up like podium spots, like these minor competitions in Finland. And this was their first like major competition podium spot at Finland. And I credit a lot of that to December, who became their in-game leader when he got at it, and he really like worked hard to get the team working, and it showed. It just showed that sometimes you just need that leader to get your game into the next level. It was beautiful to see.
Yeah, I would say now that we reached top 5, it's like any team.
Oh yeah, this is where the big boys play.
Yeah.
What do we expect this team to do well? What are their strengths?
So they are super disciplined, and like let's say I think they will play basic zone basically, like let's say 3 attackers, 2 defenders, stuff like that, basic stuff, and they do it super well. Their defense is tight, their attack is explosive and fast, and with December doing the leading now, they know they can count on him to make the calls if they need to do something more crazy and stuff like that. I think they just do the basic claim base super well.
Yeah.
Anyone else got some things to add on things they expect Connection Lost to do well?
Yeah, I think they're all like really good players. Especially, I mean, December, Ditum, and Destro. I think most European players know how good they are. But also playing against Tino,
Valojärvi.
Järki, and Josu, like last time you saw, like those are the players that I mentioned, like Finnish players that you like outside of Finland you haven't heard that much about, and then they come and they show up and play like really good laser tag. And that's always really good to see. And I hope that like in this formation, I'm not sure if they play together in Finlands like that, but if they can click, then they are for sure not fifth, but like also a title contender or playing for the final. Like you mentioned, all teams from now are like really skilled.
Yeah, I would say like the interesting and the thing is because Tino Valojärvi and Jussu, they are like really talented, like younger players. They play really ferocious, like very very feisty laser tag. It's very they play like Apex sort of, you know. A lot of movement across the whole arena, and Detum, December, and Destro, they are like their team used to be champions and like the Score Bandits, and are really strong and play a lot more structured. And if they can combine those two, it would be it would be really amazing.
It sounds like something that could either be like very, very complimentary of each other or just like completely deviate, 50-50 split on what they want to do in a game, right?
If they combine this in a good way, I would say this is the best team of the tournament. Like any team has the potential, like if the stars align and all that. But this is very clear. Like if they can get these two philosophies to coexist, I wouldn't be surprised if they are like first. It wouldn't be like a huge upset. It would be,
big call. What do we foresee the teams? I guess we kind of touched on it just then, but what do we foresee this team's potential weaknesses or downfall to be?
So I think it's gonna be like judging from I have played with them against them forever. So I would say it's always been, and it still was at Finlands, when they have to make something that isn't on their initial like planning table. If they have to make something new, like improving the game, that's when they struggle a lot. Like there's an argument to be made that they were trying, like they could have won Finlands in the third game. Like they were kind of almost gifted it if they had played it more smart and like taken the opportunity, because Legacy and GP were kind of fighting against each other in that last game, and they got the free rotation on all bases and should have just racked them points, but that's kind of where they got lost, because it was their three of their first time playing like the real big boys games, So I think that's where they struggle, but I also know that they can easily like do well in those situations as well, because you got the experience with December, Ditum, and Destro. Like I credit a lot to December, because he was kind of like trailing a little bit after his last team, Mind the Gap, lost their leader in Xylitol 2 years ago. Like he was playing with Distro and Ditum, and then some other members came through and went by, but they were kind of railing around, like not really having much success. But now December, when he joined this group and got the youngsters who really want to push for the win and be the best, like it showed in his game. Like he was super spirited and led them well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mumin or David, do you have any thoughts on potential deep weaknesses for this team?
Yeah, it's like you mentioned as well. Like if they click, then they will be insanely strong. The only thing that could happen is that they don't click. I don't expect it, because, like you mentioned, they played also in Finlands, like with kind of the roster, but that could be a problem. If not, they are really scary, I would say.
Yeah, and it's if we want to continue with the Australian comparison. I was just thinking of how to say it, but this would be maybe like Eclipse and Apex just throwing it together, trying to find a way.
That's an interesting combination when you put it that way.
I know, right? but if it works, like it will work really well. Not much more to add.
Yeah. Well, let's make our picks for stand-up players. Shoot.
So I can go first, and I was between two when I was thinking about it, but at the end it was a clear choice for me, and it's Valojääkäri. He's a pretty young player, and he's becoming a monster in the arena. Like, he's well on his way to becoming one of the best players in Europe, like straight up, in my opinion. He's crazy good nowadays and getting better by each tournament. And I always tell him that he's one of my favorite opponents because you can see that he just wants to be the best and like play the best game, most intense and best game possible.
Yep.
Like, I really think in a year or two he will be up there with, like, hackers and people like that.
He also has the coolest alias ever.
He really doesn't. He really does. If you knew what it meant, it would be really lame.
What does it mean?
Fuck you, Valojääkäri. I really don't know what the translation even is, to be honest. Like,
We'll find out.
Yeah.
After hours. Well, from me being a bloody English-speaking gentleman, it looks and sounds really cool, whatever it means.
Oh, yeah.
So, cool factor is up there for me.
I think that's the same for everyone who's not Finnish. I think.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not an European language thing.
David and Mumin, who's your pick for stand-up player?
I would go for December, actually, and maybe not because of something he did, but because how last year SweNats went for Mind the Gap without him. Like, of course, there was a different team environment, but Dietem and Destro, I think, played there together.
Yeah.
And they were like really lost in the maze. Was my opinion. They didn't find like the clear leader. They had struggle to know how to play. Even the starting tactics were, I think, made in the base 5 seconds before the start. And I think with such skilled players, all you need is like someone who will be decisive and tell them that's how we're gonna play it. And I think then the skill itself will be able to do the rest.
Cool. Mumin?
I'm struggling. I will say, like, if we look at like carrying the team, like being a solid player, I think Destro is heavily underrated. Like, when he plays what you call the brick wall, when you send like the one lone player down to a team just to stop them in their tracks. Like, Destro is when he comes around, I hate it. He's really good at that. He's very disciplined and very smart player. It doesn't look like it. Like, he's very. He looks like a sloth, but he's just so good.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, exactly. He's like chilling. And Yosu as well. Like, she usually gets in that trio. She usually gets forgotten, but she's so ferocious. Like, she's like a pit bull. When you don't want to get chased by her. Yeah. I actually saw her in the grand final in Finnish Nationals. I was refereeing the grand finals, and she was chasing Milky, and because Milky comes running around a corner, and he's like, "Who is that girl?" And she just comes around, in mid-air, just takes him out in the back, and he's like, "That girl's good. I'm out of here,"
Funny.
She's very like that. Whereas Valojääkäri and Tino plays more of a zone of control style. She just flies across the arena, and is really ferocious. I like watching her play.
Yeah, cool. Well, is there anything else we'd like to say about Connection Lost before we move on to fourth place? No? Cool. Also, I did a quick Google. I don't know if it can be trusted, but I plugged in Valojääkäri, and apparently it means lightsaber, which I think is still cool as hell because I'm a massive.
That's pretty
good.
Yeah,
that's not accurate at all.
It's not.
Yeah, not at all.
What do you mean? Everything I plug into Google Translate is 100%.
Google will never lie.
Not once. Not to me, at least. Anyway, cool. Good to know. All right. Moving on, fourth place, we have Team Destroyer. Mumin had them in 4th, Hekki had them in 5th, and David put them in the number 1, the winner chicken dinner spot. Yeah. Who's talking about Team Destroyer?
That's me, right?
I believe
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah. So I had them in 2nd when Palmer was in the team, but now I switched you to 4th when Palmer left, and it has to do with the fact that David and Palmer always plays together and make up a really strong duo, so they could set Reaper free and have Domi and Marcus playing, and David and Palmer, and that would be like a real powerhouse now. Now it's not going to be like that, so now I put you in 4th instead. But this is the exactly same team that were 4th last year, and they missed the final by what 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Half a second, yeah.
Yeah.
So you missed the grand final. It was really close, and you played really well. And I think that, and we were talking afterwards, like about the defense getting more score, like because you pull back and then you push out, and you pull back and you push out, and you do that so well. But when you pull back, some of the last liners get like 0 score because everyone is sort of pulled back to do the push. But I mean that you will get better at that, and then I don't see why you shouldn't be in the grand final. However, there's so many good teams here, so I'm not. It's really hard to like. I wouldn't be surprised if you win the tournament either, but for now you're in 4th, and it's based off of the fact that Palmer got injured.
Yeah. Benny in the chat said Team Destroyer are the best TikTokers, and he's absolutely right. If you haven't already followed the Team Destroyer TikTok, get around it. They're putting some good vids up there.
Me neither.
Oh yeah, Marcus is the most handsome laser tag TikToker.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, but I think your assessment is pretty fair. Like Palmer, of course, hurt us, or especially me. It hurts because you have like this player you played with 5 years, always like in a duo, and you know how he moves, when he moves, what he does. Also makes it easier for tactics because I know exactly what his strengths are. So of course that made us weaker, but like you mentioned, I'm still pretty confident that we can do good. Last year we had Palmer instead of Marcus, so it's a little bit of a switch off. But it's the same team that we played with SweNats with this year in Frankfurt. Missing Jenny.
Yeah. And you did pretty well. You were 2nd, right?
Yeah.
That was an interesting final.
What do we see the strengths of Team Destroyer being? What's gonna get them to that coveted 1st place?
Well, they play like Team Destroyer is really structured in their play style, and they play. I just compared Helsinki to Queensland for the Australians in the chat, and that has nothing to do with play style, sort of. But when we played against the Queensland teams in Australia, we were like, this is like playing against Team Destroyer. They play sort of similar.
Right.
Play this push-pull all the time, sending players up just with the lone attacker and then suddenly being 3 and then going back to heavy defense like this. This type of play style. And they do it really well because they're so coordinated, and that is like their strength. The weakness for Team Destroyer is, I think, that they have a hard time on like back home to find good opponents to practice against. Like they are so above and beyond the rest of the German scene. So I think, like, even though they are all like super talented, like really good, most of them could join any other top team. They don't get that. Like at the meta changes, you need to put some time and effort into getting back into the game. Federkin has the same problem. I think that's what differs from the Finnish teams that has all these players and can play these small tournaments and member nights with like a lot of players and can practice comp in a different way. So I think that is the problem that you will face.
Yeah. David, Hekki, have you got anything to add in terms of strengths for Team Destroyer?
No, I think Mumin really covered it well. Like, I think the word structure is the perfect way to describe them, because they're super structured and super disciplined.
Yeah, cool. Well, what do we expect to keep them from that first place? What's gonna make it hard for them potentially?
Well, I would say because we do play the 3-set always, and every now and then Destroyer pulls like a really weird game, where they may trail with like 20k. I'm not sure what happens when that happens. I've just seen it happen a few times. It's not like some of the teams you have that are sort of really up and down. It's like every 7th game, something like that, maybe. So that's one of the things I noticed. That it happens. Yeah. I'm not sure, David. You can maybe elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. Like I can go in depth with all the points, but I'm not want to like be too talking too much. But I think it's also fair, like you said, we have some games where like we lose a lot of points, and that's also the backside of our strength, because we are really structured and coordinated. But if the structure fails, then it will be hard. And also I think our weakness was that not every player was always on board, like how the game should be played, and there were a little bit different ideas. But I think especially after German nuts, like this year, we had some tournament in Nuremberg, and where I didn't play with Team Destroyer, but instead played with randoms. But then I also noticed like they had a little bit different approach, like more reading the game. Like normally they would always go in Germany, like you said, that the training niveau is not that high. So they would go for 10 bases every game and do it and still defend their base. But in this tournament, actually, they saw that, okay, we don't have to go for 10 bases because we defend 2 bases. And they actually did it. Like they didn't finally decide someplace, oh, I'm just going to get the base, but they were really like disciplined. And that's, I think, something that sometimes was lacking a little bit, even though it's weird when we say we are structured, but then those small moments can break this structure, and I think we improved on that, but let's see.
Hekki, have you got anything to add?
So I would say their biggest weakness is also their biggest strength, and that's the structure I was talking about. I think from the top teams, they are the most easy to read as an opponent, because they are so structured and so disciplined.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. But I mean, there's also teams that exist, and you know exactly what they're gonna do, and then they just do it anyway, and they just put the middle finger up at you, and they're like, "Cop that."
Oh yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, there's definitely been a fair share of teams at Soltech that do that as well. So, yeah, and I think I have a lot of respect for a team that does play really like structured and disciplined, and it is like readable, but they just like back themselves to just win anyway. You know, I've got a lot of respect for that. So, moving on, who is our pick for a stand-up player? Everyone.
I would say if it's a player to look out for, it would be Marcus. He missed it last year because he had an injury, and now Palmer has an injury instead. Marcus is really good.
Oh yeah.
And he is to like David and Palmer, and then you have Marcus and Domi. Those are the natural pairs in the team. So Marcus and Domi, you will see them play, and they will break through like most defenses and control the mid when needed to. So yeah, and Marcus, yeah.
Cool.
So I would actually go with Domi myself. I think he played a super great tournament at German Nets and last year at SweNats as well. So super strong back player, big guy, knows how to use his body to his advantage.
Yeah.
Like super hard duelist, super good attacker, knows how to be inside the base super well. Like really great player.
So then I might as well go for Reaper, but I also wanted to go for Reaper. Like I think he's the most well-rounded player we have in Germany. Like he does everything at least best or second best in Germany, like defending, attacking, but also coordination and seeing what's happening in the game is I think where he's a little bit better than Domi and Marcus. But I think those three are like the three best players in Germany by far, and they are also in the European skill level, I think, really high.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, happy days. Well, have we got anything else to add about Team Destroyer before we move on?
No. Spartans. Yeah.
Oh,
For the-
nice.
For the comparison, Team Destroyer is
Yeah.
close to the Spartans in terms of how they play.
Yeah.
All right, that's cooking. You're cooking. Cool. Excuse my nose, everyone. I've been started like sneezing and bloody running nose in the last like 10 minutes for no reason. Anyway, cool. Best of luck to Team Destroyer. Hopefully you can get that juicy first place, David. But that's up to you guys, huh? Moving on, third place. We're in the top 3 now. We have Federkin. So Mumin had them in first, Hekki had them in third, and David had them in fourth. Continuing the trend of these guys predicting their own teams in first, which I respect. I'm all for it. Who's talking about Federkin?
Yeah, that will be me. I think like putting yourself in first, like you kind of have to do that to be able to even have the chance, because if you don't believe in your team, then the others are not going to believe it. But I'm confident that we will win. Mumin is confident. I'm 100% certain that Hekki is also sure they will win.
Maybe I'm a big Legacy fan. You never know.
Yeah. You put yourself fourth. No, but I think like Federkin, they are known powerhouse in Germany, in Europe. Like now also with the team back together, like last SweNats, they were like split and they had like some Pariah guys or playing with the Federkin guys and the other way around. But even then they managed to reach the final. I think it was you, Mumin, and was Super also in
I got
Isaiah?
it.
Got it. True.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But like I'm expecting them to really bad in the first day, and then suddenly when it matters they will show up and play like really good laser tag. Like it always has been. They somehow
The
will find.
usual.
Yeah. They look like they play for the first time together instead of 10, 15 years, and then suddenly like you see why they are so good and consistently in the top. I think they're really good like in zone play, like having a zone around your base or around the maze actually, not only the base, and having like Smiley do his annoying thing in the maze, where they are also really coordinated, I think, and having like small forces attacking instead of like coming with 5 people. And for that, it makes it, like you said, for us, it's a little bit easier to read because we play the same way. I think they are like that really hard to read when they attack, where they attack, because they are also that strong in their zone play that they are able to surprise you when they attack. Yeah, and of course, I think they're disciplined. They are really good in the base fights, and if there's a lot of trouble, especially Slanesh there, he will rack up points in like a scramble with multiple players. Yeah. So I think they will do really good. I actually put them fourth, but like for all the other teams in the top 5, they can be first or fifth or everything in between, depending on how they show up and if they show up. Last time it was really close between my team and their team to make it to the final. this time I hope that we will have the edge, but I think every team in the top 5 can do it. You're muted, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you. What do we foresee Faderkin's big strengths being going into this tournament then?
Yeah, like I said, I think they're disciplined. They play together really well. I think Smiley is in Borash like really a menace when he plays in the labyrinth. I think I also picked him for MVP last time, last year in SweNats. I think he's the most annoying player in Borash for sure. Like it's so hard to play against him, and he's like insanely good in the maze. He will blind shoot you through 20 meters of obstacles and still hit you, and you don't know where it comes from. And like them back together, they will be for sure really good.
Yep, Hekki and Mumin, you guys got anything?
So, kind of what David said, I would say arena play is their biggest strength in Buros. I think almost in every other arena in Europe, I would pick connection lost over this lineup. But in Buros, I think they're going to make the finals for sure. Like, David was praising Smiley a lot, and like, I love to do it, but goddamn, that motherfucker is annoying in that arena. Like, an absolute menace.
Mumin, you got anything to add about your own team?
No, like we have the same, even worse situation than Destroyer has with all the arenas. In Sweden, there's not many to pick from, so we don't have a lot of teams, so we don't get to practice. So we spend most of our first part of the tournament every year, every tournament we go to. It's like, okay, let's see what's new in the meta. We just try to, and then we just try to build, and then in Cascade 2, that's where we come back, and we'll see if we can repeat that as we do every year. But it is getting harder because there's, I mean, back in the day there was like you already knew almost who was going to go to the grand final when you went to a tournament, but because the skill was so like you had a few good teams only. But now there's so many good teams, so you really have to. That is more of a struggle actually. It was easier way back when we'll see. And that is always our, like in Finnish Nats, like working out the meta. We had players that had never played a Finnish base before, who wanted to play like we do back home, and it didn't really pan out. But you know, in the second Cascade, we moved up and we ended up second in that Cascade. So we'll see. We're a little bit all over the place.
Is there a Australian team that you could compare your team to, Mumin?
Oof. Like one of the more chaotic ones, maybe like One Up or I don't know. I feel like sometimes when we play against the Cobras, it feels like they play a little bit like we do, but they are more disciplined than we are. They are have more cohesiveness is a weird thing to say because like me and Babby have played together since '97, but they are more on point with the meta. Like we have so many. I think when you have played for so long, it's there's so much different tactics and things to pick from. So everyone will always have different ideas. How to approach a problem. It's a strength, but it's also a big problem.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I guess we've touched a little bit on strengths, a little bit on weaknesses. Do Hekki and David, do you have anything more to add in terms of what could be the downfall of Faderkin and not letting them get to that finals?
Yeah, I think they. And I think Mumin says they don't play disciplined. I think if they have their games like in the later part of the tournament, then I think that's not true. Maybe that's a little bit from the outside. It looks different. At least it looks disciplined when you have like this games that matters. And I think in that games you like have the zone play and you strike on the opportunities that present themselves. Like if there's some weakness in an opponent, then you will use it. I think might be a problem is your base attack. It could be because at least I'm not that used to you being attacking with like 3 or 4 people, but instead it's mostly like 1 guy or 2 guys attacking. So if there will be a game state where you have a lot emphasis on defense, I think this might give you a little bit of trouble. But then of course you also be able to rack out pack points. So it's more or less if you will click or when you will click, then I think it will be a strong contender.
Hekki, you got anything to add, bro?
So I would say that if the top games fall into like a mid-game chaos or end-game chaos, that's kind of where Federkin falls flat most of the time, I would say. And they like have their patterns and they play for them, to them, according to them. And like it's also, like I said about Team Destroy, they are sometimes very easy to predict, in my opinion. Not all of the time, and like I have all the praise to them in this arena in particular. Like they're very dangerous squad in there.
Yeah. Well, if we've got nothing else for strengths and weaknesses, who's the standout player for you guys?
Yeah, I think for me it has to be Smiley in Boros. I think like all the other guys are really good. They have their strengths, but in Boros, I think Smiley is like the best player in what he does. It's really hard to play against him, and it's not that often that you have a problem with like individual players. It's more like you have problems with teams or with attack duos. But he is like a player that it's really hard to play against like him individually because he's kind of also doing his own thing away from the team. So I'm going with Smiley.
So I would also go with Smiley, but I don't want to be boring, so I will pick Mumin himself because I think last year he really showed up playing with the Piraya guys and got the really showed why he's a legend of the scene over there. Knows the arena well, knows the base super well, like super dangerous inside the base especially.
Cool. Mumin, who is it and why is it you?
Well, who I would pick? Like I would probably pick. Like we do have to. Like we have SweNats, who has. He is, and we also have Bambi. It's so hard, and it's my
Yeah, exactly.
like, but I would say a player to look out for it is SweNats actually, because he's one of those players with high highs and low lows. Like so, when SweNats plays good, the team is in good cohesion, and we will most likely make it to finals at least.
Yeah.
If SweNats is playing bad, that means that it's not so good cohesion.
Right.
He's very sensitive, but he also changes really fast. So he will cheer up pretty fast, and then we'll be back on track. But he will be sort of an indicator because he's so ridiculously strong when he's good. Like it's real powerhouse.
Yeah, no pressure, Slanesh. Do we have anything else we'd like to say about Federkin before we move on? Chillin'. All right, guys, 2 more teams left. Best of luck to Federkin. Move on to second place. We have Mega Friends. So we have Mumin and David put them in third, and again, continuing tradition of these guys putting their own teams in first place. Hekki put them in first. So who's going to be talking about Mega Friends?
It's gonna be me as well. And I think if you compare Mega Friends with the teams we had before, like us and also Federkin, I think they have a little bit of a different approach. Like Federkin, they try to, at least in my opinion, they look how the game state is and then they act on it. And we play our discipline style, and I think the Mega Friends, they just play to dominate the maze. Like they want to have their own thumb on the game. They will want to decide how the game is played, and that's their biggest strength. Like they can do that because they skilled enough, and also I think their biggest strength is not, of course, the skill is a big strength, but every one of those guys knows how to read the maze and knows how to act in the maze, and they still somehow manage to have it coordinated. And I think that's their biggest strength, like the coordination in the game, while still swapping what they do a lot, but still being able to see the big picture in the game. And I think that's what makes them so good. And I'm expecting them to be in the final, pretty sure. Maybe also first, let's see. But I think actually they are a little bit less bouncy than us and Federkin for having to reach the final. I think they will get to the final, but then we will see.
Yeah, cool. Mumin and Hekki, have you got anything to add in terms of things we expect Mega Friends to do well?
We are gonna win pretty well.
Hell yeah.
I think this is a team that Hekki feels more comfortable with. Like you have had
Oh,
some
yeah.
now where you have looked uncomfortable as a team captain. So this team, I think you are more. This is more your team.
You will be very much correct. It's kind of like year and a half in the making. This is kind of the lineup me and Hacker have been thinking about for a long time now. We finally made it happen.
Yeah,
It's something I think we all feel very comfortable in. Like we are in a good place with this team.
yeah. So this is sort of more of a like cherry picked team, like where you have been able to place. Like you have also Keps, who is from Sweden, so it's not a it's from a broader region, and you have been able to select the players you really want for each position. So
Yeah.
on paper, that's really good, but it's also the first time out this team, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that might be. Otherwise, had this been like maybe your third tournament, I would put you in first easy. But there's still a few things like it's. We haven't seen it in play yet, but I know all these people are really close to each other. I mean, yeah, I mean you and Hacker are really close.
Yeah.
Kept Minerva are really close. Elko and Minerva, they're siblings, so they should be close. You know, so yeah, really strong team.
Yeah, and what do we, if any, what do we foresee the weaknesses of this team being, the downfalls?
Yeah, I think it's how Mumin mentioned, like they get along really good outside of the maze, but we haven't seen it inside the maze. I'm expecting that it will not be a problem, but you never know. And also, like it's hard to find weaknesses for them, but I think maybe the missing of Nick, like he was their backbone defender, and you could always rely that the base will be a lot of trouble to take, because he was a dedicated defender and always like really strong in it. And maybe he's missing. We'll see. I'm not sure who will be the main defender then, or how you guys will play it, but we will see for sure if this will work out.
Yeah, Mumin, you got anything to add?
Not really. It'll be interesting to see how dominant this team will be in the tournament. How long they need to like find each other in the new lineup, but it's not really new in one sense. I mean, it's Nick out and Minerva in. They both play defense.
Yeah.
And compared to the Savants that won last year in Finnish Nats, it's Noob and Big Boss out and Minerva in. And I mean, it's like Big Boss is more of a like compared to your heyday when you had that team is more of a pack on pack player than Minerva is. But on the other hand, you got Hacker and Kips, who is
Exactly.
so it's a really well balanced team. So yeah, we'll see.
And who are you? Or I'm gonna guess, Hekki, you're not gonna want to give away any of what your potential weaknesses are. Am I right? Or you got something?
Yeah, not really. Like I would agree with David and Mumin. I think it's very reasonable to say that it's gonna be interesting to see how we do first time out with these 5.
Yeah.
It's the first time playing with this exact lineup, so that could be the weakness. First time out.
Yeah. Or you might just go out there and wipe the floor with everyone.
That's what
who
we'll do,
knows?
my friend. That's what we'll do.
Hell yeah, bro! I respect. I respect.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's good. That's good. We need more of that. More of that. All right. Who is our picks for standout player for the team?
I will go with Hacker. I don't think it's much of a surprise.
Yeah.
I think what he's showing right now is like the peak of European laser tag, like in my opinion. I think also in this maze he's really strong. I think he would rival Smiley for best player in the maze, and only Smiley first because like he played that maze so often that he also knows like the little details. But I think last year in the first day he had like an average of 30 or 14k on the first day, and yeah, with the next one being 11k. So I'm pretty sure that he will do great as well. And yeah, but I think everyone in the team has it in them to step up when they need to. But as standout, I would take Hacker.
Mumin, you got a pick?
I mean, Hacker is. Yeah, I mean, Hacker. but if we're gonna get more like who to watch out for, I mean, Hacker is the all-star.
Oh Europe. Yeah, he's the best player in our scene right now, like hands down. Hands down.
Yeah, nobody really compares to him, but someone to watch out for. Okay, let's go with Milka, with Minerva, because she is like, if you look at the stats, would finish second place, with second place, Germany third place. I mean, it doesn't reflect her skill.
Yeah.
This is the first time I think that she is in a clear top team for a while.
Oh yeah.
Trying to remember. She's been active.
It is the first time since, I would say, SweNats 21 where you guys won. She was playing with the GP guys there.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. She was in GP. But yeah, so I mean, she is like really, really good. I played 2 Finnish Nats with her, I think, something like that. I played 2 times with her in Finland, and she is.
Okay, I think once in Nats it was Seinäjoki one, right?
Seinäjoki, yeah, and we played in Rollo.
Rollo, yeah.
Yeah. We were second, I think. No, third.
Yeah,
something like that. Anyway, really good player, really underestimated.
I actually am not sure if she's that underestimated, because I think in the last 2 years, like every tournament I think she was the standout player of the team, like in my opinion. So it's not like she's underestimated, but I think now she has like the.
I know what Mumin is kind of talking about when he says that, because she has kind of been not playing the top tier teams, even though she always has had the skill for it. And she played with us in Frankfurt when we lost to Legacy, and in that tournament, it was clear to me after the tournament was over that she needs to be in this lineup right here. Like, she has been playing super good the past, like super good the past 2 years or so, I would say.
Yeah. And Mumin, do you have a team at Zoltak you could compare Mega Friends to, or are they their own beast?
It's the notion that you can pick this way, like Hekki is in a position right now where he can pick any player from across like 2 sites, like 2 regions. I don't know. This is like, I won't say Wolfpack because but it's something like it. Yeah, because the smartness and that everyone is sort of worried, like how are they going to play, even though they sort of know how they're going to play already. But so I don't know. It's for our scene. I'm not comparing skill wise now, but it would be like Wolfpack sort of picking up Spider, as in Keps, something like that. Not really as strong. Yeah, maybe not really as strong. Maybe, but something along the line of that.
That'll do, mate. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be hard to get a perfect comparison for every team. Yeah. So I think I'll take that.
I would say
yeah, you go.
Yeah, I say this is the best team that Helsinki has produced since the GP of
OG GP.
Yeah, Yeah, it's still not GP. I mean, GP.
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of work to be that.
Yeah, I mean, so we're not. Yeah, so it shouldn't. It's not the same as when the true GP came over.
Yeah, but I think I just want to add that we are all like super excited about this whole like this team or this project, if you want to call it that. Like we all recognize the potential in it. Like we can really build something here. We can really build something, and that's kind of what we have been wanting to do for a while now. So.
Oh yeah, this will be. If you keep playing with this team, it will be a really strong team for sure.
Oh yeah.
It'll be interesting to follow.
Oh yeah.
Cool beans. Well, have we got anything else we'd like to add about Mega Friends before we move on? No wuckers. Alrighty. Wrapping up the show, we have our first place predictor team. We have the Legacy guys. So all of you guys had them in second, but I guess the community had them in because, well, they can't have two in first. Yeah, who's talking about Legacy?
Oh, it's me. It's me. Oh yeah. So a funny story. I was actually out drinking with two of their players last night. But yeah, Legacy. What can I say? Like they have been playing together forever with this exact lineup for like the last 5 years or so, with the addition of Red Change now, and they won both SweNats and FinNats. They are a cohesive unit, but they are still not as good as you would imagine. I would say like you obviously have to give them an applause for the wins they have got in the past year or so, but like they weren't very like dominant or like statement victories, I would say. But you can easily see their like growth in the last 2 years. They have got better and they are continuing to get better, and the wins have gotten them even more hungry than they were before. So they are deserving of the first spot in this predictions list.
Yeah, and what do we see what are the particular strengths of the Legacy team and the Legacy players?
It's the cohesiveness, I would say. They are a well-oiled machine, and nowadays I would say that they are really good at reacting to whatever happens in the game. Like R is very good at keeping the stuff together and reacting to things accordingly. Whenever, like I would say, even like under 2 years ago, that was like their biggest weakness. And now they have got much better at that, and that's kind of how I feel they won both German and Finnish match, and it was like in that way super impressive.
Yeah, cool. Any Mumin and David, you got anything to add about Legacy?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like we had at the start of the talk, we had like if you have the strongest players in one team, the 5 biggest strongest players, and then 5 players that get along really well and are like the dual machine. And I think that's exactly Legacy. That's how they do so good in those last years. Because I think maybe aside from Federkin, they're the team that stay together the longest, like in the European scene, and play always on the top level together. And right now, you saw in the last year or last 2 years them having this extra evolution, where they can build on their skill, like with this cohesiveness and their play in the game, like the reaction play. But I think also like Hekki mentioned, it's not like they're super dominant, but this cohesiveness gives them like this little edge in the last tournaments that they needed all those years. I think someone in the chat said, "Yeah, aren't they always third?" And like that was the meme for them. But right now they managed to make that step and actually not be always third, but somehow always get first. And like they play really good. And I think the day after FinNats, they decided to go to SweNats for the Grand Slam, like Hekki did last year. So we are here to stop that, but I think they have a really good shot at it.
Yeah. And they went to like they have been good for like this team has been good for like so long, and then having problem in the grand final, and usually it was they played the grand final against GP so many times. It's getting sleepy. It's getting late for the old.
Sorry. It is. I've had a big day. I'm sorry. I'm not bored. I'm just had a big day. I promise. I had a big day last night.
I'm just kidding. So the thing, it used to be like Legacy reached the finals, sometimes even before GP went to finals. And then in the finals, GP sort of, they outmaneuvered Legacy every time. But it was always with the help of the third team a little bit, because I felt like a lot of the times, like Legacy and GP in the finals, and the third team sort of a little bit like a mixed team or like a newer team. Not new in that sense. I mean, they're in the grand finals, but in comparison, and they fall for the bait that GP always does: the break each team one game, and then play slow game one game. I mean, and people just keep falling for it, and that has hurt Legacy a lot. But now it seems like they have sort of gotten their stuff together, because GP tried the same thing in this grand final in Finnish Nats, and Legacy came out on top. So yes, something has happened. So I think this team is much better than what the record shows. Like, not this year, obviously, because they won all the majors, but even before that.
Yeah. And what do we foresee being the potential downfall for Legacy, maybe placing in third once again?
It's always hard to say that when talking about them, because they're almost like comparable to Fedakin in that sense. Like, they can really like tank the finals when they get there, as Mumin was telling us about. This year they haven't done that, but I know they still can and are capable of doing that. It's interesting. Like, I think if I'm thinking about potential finals, if it's the top three predicted here, us, Fey, and Legacy, then I think if it goes down that everybody gets even bases and it's just a pack-on-pack game, that's where Legacy falls flat against our teams. Even Team Destroyer, maybe, to be honest.
Yeah, that's our common goal. Don't let you get 10 bases.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make it happen.
We'll see.
Settle down, boys. Any David and Mumin, you got anything to add about potential weaknesses for Legacy?
Yeah, I think it's like really hard to have like a strong, like they have no big weakness, and that's kind of their strength. Like, they are not dominant in their wins, but they make not that many mistakes. Like Mumin mentioned, for us, for Team Destroy, we have like every 7th game where we play really bad, and I don't think Legacy has that. Maybe outside of the finals, you can say, but even then, like this year, they have like played every game good. I think even in German, that's like we were behind a lot one game and then we stomped one game, but they like always had their score, and that's what managed them the win.
Yeah.
And I think that they don't have like a clear weakness is also like their biggest strength.
Yeah, I would say their weakness, because we do a lot of 3 sets in Sweden in the system D and all. The third game is usually what gets them. Usually when they're supposed to decide what to do in the last game, that's where something goes wrong. Yeah, not as much now, obviously, but that used to be a thing. Like Legacy in the lead, Legacy in the lead, Legacy in third. It's a meme.
Yeah, but I think that's exactly what you said. Like, that was more in the past. Like, I feel this year that's like their biggest step up, that they keep this consistency. Like also in the finals.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Have we got anything to add in terms of weaknesses for Legacy? Cool. Yeah. Who's the standout player on this Legacy team, or someone to watch out for?
So for me, the obvious pick is R, the team captain, because he's really the one pulling the strings. And I have seen when the Legacy guys play without him, and it's just complete chaos. Like he's the force behind that team.
Yeah. R is a lot like Grub. When you see Grub in the arena, you think we call him Australian R.
Okay, cool.
I would say, like, player to look out for. I would say, like, we all know, like, it's usually you talk about Mystery and R, but I think Rowan is getting like steadily better every year. It's Mystery and Rowan, they're brothers, right? And Mystery used to be like the star,
Yeah.
very much so. And now Rowan is also like he's a really good player as well. Like they are almost just as good, both of them now. I would say, at least in comp. In solos, Mystery usually plays a bit higher, but yeah.
Yeah, I would also like choose R like for the clear reason that he's like the brain of the when you say the well-oiled machine, like he's the motor that
Yeah.
keeps it moving. But then, like Mumin said, I think Mystery is like from skill-wise, he's really good and also like on the top, especially in those solo plays. And I think that's actually in Boros a skill that is very much needed because you have a lot of like solo-like environments around the bases where you want to take pack points, and that's something where he can shine.
Yeah, cool. Well, have you guys got anything you'd like to add about Legacy before we kind of wrap up the show?
Nope.
Beans. Well, yeah, that's the end of me slideshow. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Just us now. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this is the first predictions thing where I've had all three of the guests predict themselves in first. So that's awesome, and I want more of that. I want more. People are like, oh, I don't want to. I want to be humble. I don't want to. I don't want to seem like a dick or whatever. But I think it's a bit more fun if you back yourself. So yeah, good on you guys. And yeah, it's going to be the battle for first place. And if you guys join me for the review, yeah, someone's going to have the ultimate bragging rights between the three of you. So I'm excited for that as well. Wax was just in the chat asking when is SweNats?
23rd to 20. Hold on.
6th, right?
23rd to 26th. And 23rd, that's more of a social night with just the solos. So 24th to 26th.
Yep. And then Wax was also wondering, he wanted to hear from you guys what the talk about Worlds is like in Europe. Obviously, we talked about it off air before, but for people for everyone else, do you want to let them know what Worlds is looking like for these European teams?
Well, I would just confirm that Sweden is not sending a team and Germany is not sending a team. And Hekki, Finland.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Finland either, I think. Maybe one team maximum, if even that. And probably not like a top contender team.
No, well, is Isemax, right?
I'm not sure are they going.
Okay.
It might be they're more like a mixed team of random players.
I see.
Yeah, and you were saying before, Hekki, that just for you guys to get to New Zealand is crazy expensive. Is that what you were saying?
It is super expensive. Yeah, it is doable, especially when you know the dates so beforehand. But like it's pretty expensive, and especially if there's not top teams coming from the other countries, I don't really have like interest going there. If not, there's not the best of the best playing. I don't see the point basically.
Yeah, maybe we're like in kind of a spiral where everyone is
Yeah.
waiting for it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No one wants to take the money to say, okay, we come if no other team has come. But I think in Germany it's also.
My team, we don't have the money. We don't have the euro in Sweden, so our currency is just it's down the drain. And I mean, we got a war going on the continent and everything. I mean, it's
obviously
an inflation and whatnot. I mean, it's not the best time to decide to go to New Zealand for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wax is telling you guys to just come to Aussie Nats instead. So we'll see all of you there.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I would since I went last year, I need to save up a little bit. But if it keeps being a Helios 2, I'll be there again.
Have you guys played a Helios 2 tournament in Europe yet?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
We still have the thing is that with Helios 2, at the very least, you need to switch the back sensors from the yellow to the black. What do you call it? Back panels or whatever.
Whatever. There's something there.
Yeah, but if you, I'm not sure. Did you play with the yellow back sensors?
I did go to pre-nats one, yeah.
So it's really hard to hit.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. I mean, so there was at that pre-nuts one, there was a Thursday night where they did like triples elim, and apparently that night it was like egregiously like obvious, like people were just like walking towards you with their backs and like they were just invincible. Over the course, like I think they fixed it, and it wasn't like bad to that extent, but it was still like, you know, so many denials that happen because you like have a teammate and you've shot the person a couple times as they're like running in, and they just go in and get the denial anyway, and that was pretty frustrating. I didn't really notice it at nationals much.
No, they changed it.
Yeah, and then I think also what Runt was saying about how the IR works on Helios 2 was a big help as well, where it's just like that initial, when you initially pull the trigger, there's that one IR blast, and then like the laser keeps going for like ages, but the IR isn't coming out for that whole duration of the laser. So that was like giving people a false sense of like my laser's on them, but the IR wasn't, so it wasn't hitting because it just like
it's the same for Helios Pro.
Yeah, but I mean Helios Pro is like when the IR goes, it goes like so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, did any of you gentlemen have anything you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I picked up a few ideas in Australia that we will try, and especially with the reffing system, taking notes, keeping stats on the refs. That's going to be a thing we'll try to do. I'm not the first one in Europe to try that. Dark Omen did the same thing in the European Championships 2018. But we'll try to get it out there, get the stats out. I think it would be a good way of showing like what teams are doing, and you can talk to the teams that are not reffing at all. Like they're there, but they're not actually doing anything.
Like terming anyone, yeah.
So that would be the one thing, and then we are adding no stop zones for the outside the base entrances because they are quite narrow compared to, for instance, Hobart. And they are no stop zones for deactivated players only, so it doesn't apply to active players.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
just to stop people like, you know, loading up on the door. Like I'm about to activate in 3 seconds, but there's someone like active behind them that's like, I'm active now. Get the hell out of the way.
Something like that.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I expect them to be a lot of warnings for that first day, most likely in the double events. So it will be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah. Well, my nose is running like crazy, so I'm gonna wrap the show up here. So excuse me for like wiping my nose with a old tissue for like the whole last half of the stream, but thank you very much to you guys for inviting Laser Sports Academy to host this prediction stream. It's been a pleasure. Anyone out there for any tournament, you know, whether it's like a Finnish Nats or a German Nats or a US Nats or wherever it is, if you want to have your tournament covered with like a predictions and like a review stream, we're more than happy to provide the platform and I guess the service. Just give us like a few weeks notice and we can work something out. If you want to do it differently, you know, we can talk to you about that and we can work that out as well. But I think these streams are an important part of like trying to really bring the global community together. Like I think like half the people in the chat were like Australian, which was really cool. Where normally there hasn't been a lot of like exposure to each other's scenes. So otherwise, if you didn't already see, I posted on the social medias that we just opened up a merchandise store as well. So it's like a print on demand thing. That's all we can really afford at the moment. We can't do any like specialized stock, but pretty simple, just black, white, red t-shirts and hoodies with like a digital printed LSA logo on the front. If you're interested and you want to help support Laser Sports Academy, that money will go towards future projects, whether it be like a limited run of merchandise, maybe like a custom laser tag shirt or something along those lines. That's where that money is going to go towards. So, you know, if you just want to show some support or you want to rep the brand, rep the boys, you can head to the URL, which I haven't memorized off by heart yet, so you can find it on our social medias or on the link tree. I'll get there eventually, but shameless plug over. Thank you very much, Mumin, David, and Hekki, for joining me. You know, wishing you guys all the best at your tournament. Hopefully, no injuries, no sicknesses, no lost voices, no cramps, just a smooth sailing. And I would like to wish all of you, you know, best of luck in reaching that first place that you all predicted yourselves in. But there can only be one, and we'll reconvene afterwards. Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Good night, everyone.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah. Thank you for hosting, Ryan.
Hey guys.
No worries, guys. See you later. See you next time. Offline screen.